Hi, Kathleen. I decided it would be easier to just make a video and post it on YouTube to give you a tutorial on helping you to learn how to navigate your way through the course so that you can help your son experience success in this last push, probably about the last, week and or month and a half of the course. I would love nothing more than for Alex to experience nothing but success and A's as he finishes and finishes strong because he certainly has the raw talent. Your son is an outstanding writer, and I truly believe he could be a published writer if he set his mind to it as an adult. So, first of all, let's talk about the 3 ways that your son can navigate through seeing what's due. The most obvious, first, is to go to the home page. So if we go to the home page, we will see a link to the Gantt chart. I want you to click on that link. And then when you open up the Gantt chart, you'll obviously go to the first page, which you don't need. This is way back on September 1st, Unit 1. So you need to go through these tabs across the bottom, Unit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're on Unit 5. So I click on that once, and it's going to show you everything that's been transpiring while your son's been on his field trip. So we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is where I'm creating video reactions to the second drafts of their op-ed piece. This is the piece that your son did not turn in before he left for his field trip. What I am going to do, I realized when I was walking my dog last night, is I can go back to his initial draft that he turned in first. It's very rough. And there's not much there, but it's something for me to create a video in reaction to. And when he gets back from his field trip, if he turns in a revised draft to that by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. his time, I will still give him the 10 points for that. He will then, based on my video instructions, write a more lengthy op-ed column, supposed to be 400 to 1,200 words, and he'll actually submit that to the New York Times for 10 points, and then he'll send it to me a week from today for 100 points. So it needs to be really, really good. And if you look in the module, there'll be samples from the Opinionator that are professional models for him to reference. You'll see everything here that he has missed while he was gone away on his field trip. So this is the first thing. And if I were you, I would go ahead and print this out. You can either print it out here or click on the Gantt chart link above. And again, you need to scroll to the bottom. So take your mouse, scroll to the bottom. And there's always a lag for me here. I don't know why. And once I do that, usually, there we go. I can get to the bottom, go to Unit 5, across the bottom here. And this is going to be an easier place where I can print. So I'm going to go ahead and print. I'm going to see that it's on landscape. I'm going to go ahead and print. Make sure it is on a color printer. So I'm going to change the printer here at school. I'm going to go to a color printer. Make sure it's all there and print, okay? So that's the first thing, the very concrete step that I would like you to take, and that is actually printing out the Gantt chart. Now, let's go back to the course and go back to Module 5. So Module 5 is an overlap of turning in that op-ed piece that was due before break and then the final draft that's due a week from today. Now he's working on a brand new unit that he'll just be introduced to when he comes back from his field trip. And that's Unit 5, the StoryCorps a unit, where he's going to record you or another member of his family or a teacher or a friend. And there are a series of steps here as well. So go to this first item, the unit to-do list, and go ahead and pull it up. Print this out as well, okay? So if I go ahead and print this out, I can see what your son should have done on Monday, what he should have done on Tuesday, what he should be doing today, what he should be doing tomorrow and Friday. So obviously when he gets in on Saturday, he can't plunge right into the Saturday stuff. He needs to go back to the beginning and just work his way methodically through this list to make up for the week that he was gone. It goes all the way through, all the way up to Wednesday, November 30th. That's 2 weeks from today. And that will help him to figure out exactly what he needs to do on a day-by-day basis. Gives him a really nice bulleted list of items to do, in addition to that bulleted list from the Gantt chart. The third way that your son can figure out what's happening in the class, if we go back to the module, And I showed you that at the very top, we had the Unit 5 StoryCorps. Here are all the due dates. So it tells him, you need to print this out by 11/14. You need to watch Fish talking in a video on 11/14. You need to watch the Introduction to StoryCorps by the founder on the 14th. You need to pass the fish by tonight at 11:59 p.m. and so on it goes. Okay, so this takes him through step by step, all the way up to submitting his final StoryCorps podcast, which is going to be an audio file that's due 2 weeks from today for 50 points. So the op-ed column that he'll revise after watching my video feedback, he'll turn it in once by the 19th at 11:59 p.m. to recover those 10 lost points, and then he'll turn it in a second time on the 23rd for 100 points. That's really important, so there's that deadline. So you may want to print out this screen as well. So we have not one, not two, but 3 ways that you can make a master list and just be gently prodding him at home and say, gee, I noticed that on Monday you were supposed to watch Fish. What did she talk about? Tell me in your own words what the StoryCorps podcast is. And then after he's had a couple of days and he's watched the founder's TED Talk about StoryCorps, you can say, so what Dave Isay have to say about StoryCorps is? How is that different from what Fish said? And then he can go ahead and work his way through the various things. He has to post to the discussion board for extra credit. He needs to watch some sample StoryCorps animations. He needs to download the app. He needs to post a short video explaining who he's going to interview and 5 questions he might ask that person. He's going to follow along on the Twitter account if he has a Twitter account, and so forth. So that's going to help him to navigate his way through what's going to transpire. The good news is there's only one more group meeting. It's a goodbye Skype with the other 2 members of their groups, and that'll be taking place close to the end of the course, and it's optional. It's not for points, and they'll have a goodbye Skype with me. And again, that's not for points either. It's just to have some sense of closure on the course where Alexander and I can say goodbye to one another. It's not possible for him to recover his group points. To be blunt with you, the other members of Alex's group, they took a hit to their grade because Alex was in their group and he failed to meet with them. And this was not an isolated problem. This transpired on more than one occasion. Again, to be perfectly candid, one of his group members, Jack, a young man from China, is really working very hard here. His mother has left China and is here exclusively so that his son can go to school in America to better his chances of getting into an American university. And so Jack was really, really upset and emailed me nonstop saying, this isn't fair. I didn't fail the group. Somebody else failed the group. He was too kind to point out that it was Alexander, but I was able to piece it together when the other member of his group, Rachel, said, this isn't fair. I've done my due diligence. And again, they're both very protective of your son, and they did not want to identify him as the person who failed the group. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what happened in that podcast project. There were some holes in that group that simply did not exist in the other 2. So Alexander needs to understand on group work, when he lets down the other people in his group, not only is he hurting his performance, he's affecting the performance of other students in that group. And that's a very important lesson to learn for college, especially if he ends up in some courses where teamwork is an important part of the project. So I hope this has been helpful. Please feel free to continue to email me or get in touch with me through Michael if you have any other questions or concerns. Take care and happy holidays to you. Your son is so bright. He's such a sensitive young man, and he's a beautiful writer. I've been incredibly blessed to have been his teacher this year. And believe me, I would love nothing more than to see him come into his own and thrive, because he certainly has the raw ability. Take care.